Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Jesse Showalter. We got people coming in from all over the world on this amazing new year. I'm so excited. It's the first challenge of 2022 and you guys are here to join me. So welcome. We got Sam Peterson moderating in the chat. We have a couple people jumping in already. If you're jumping in, let me know where you're coming from. Maybe even throw in an emoji that matches your New Year's resolution. Maybe it's a weight, maybe it's a plant, maybe it's a shoe for running. I don't know. Throw something in there. Make it happen. And that would be awesome. Hey, if you've never done the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge, this is a great year to start. 2022, it's hard to say, is the year for you to do that. So it's going to be a ton of fun. This is 2 weeks of challenges. And what we do is we have a challenge every single day except for today, which is our welcome. It's our hello. And so I want to say hello over there to Giovanni, and Sam is saying hello as well. If you are watching this on YouTube and you're typing in the chat, come on over to Behance. That's where you need to be so they can interact with you live and in person right here in the chat. Like SK Arif Hassan, he says, I am from, and then I can't read it. It's too hard for me. But Tanya says hello. We got more people jumping in. Thank you so much for being a part of the live stream today of the start of the challenge. Hey, if you want to know more about the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge, if you're watching this on a replay, you can just head over to behance.net/challenge/XD to learn more. You're going to hit that big blue button, and you're going to do these 4 steps. Each day you receive that challenge, and they're right here. They're listed below. They're going to pop up each day starting with tomorrow, January 4th, or on the replay, they'll just be available to you. Also, then you'll be able to join the community chat. That's what's happening right now. Watch the daily live show along with me, and then share your work on Behance. And then if you scroll down to the bottom of this, you can hit chat with the community. That's going to be the way for you to jump over and join the Adobe XD Discord server that has like over 60,000 creatives in it right now. And what you need to do is once you get into the XD Discord server, scroll all the way down, head over to the challenge tab, and that's where a lot of the magic is going to happen. That's where I'm going to be chatting with you. Mentors are going to be popping in. You can post your work, get feedback, and we will be reviewing work each and every day at the end of the stream, which would be really, really fun. So maybe your work will actually get reviewed. That could be very, very cool. All right, we got more people jumping in. Let's see who's in the chat. Giannis is here. Saida is here. Drew is in the house. Lots of people jumping in. All right, it's going to be a lot of fun. Hello from around the world. I have some allergies right now. Stick with me. It's going to be a blast. Hey, another thing, what you can do is jump over to Behance, and you can just actually do a little bit of a search for XD Daily Challenge. That's a kind of a hashtag that you might want to use, a tag you might want to put on your post. And there's lots of options that show up here. I just like XD Daily Challenge, but I'll also be pulling from Behance your work. So post your work. Post it up, and we'll come in here and look at some of the posts throughout the challenge that'll last for the next 2 weeks. Hey, let's jump over. Sam Peterson's posting the link to the Discord server. If you can't find it online, it's right there inside the live chat, because Sam's awesome, because our moderators are the best. That's why. I have an Adobe XD file open, and let me tell you, if you've never played with Adobe XD, if you've never opened it, learned the basics, and maybe you're saying in 2022, I want to learn Adobe XD, then this is a great way to do that, is by jumping in and participating in these quick little 30-minute challenges. And then after the fact, you can take all the time you want, right? You can spend all the time in the world on them, but just being live and in person with somebody and having the community in the chat and on Discord behind you, it's a good feeling. It's a great way to learn. Let's see. Dima says that they're from Palestine. Happy New Year's to everybody. Happy New Year's to you. My New Year's resolution is to grow my YouTube channel, because I am on the YouTubes. It's also to work out consistently. I know that sounds pretty lame, pretty standard New Year's resolution, but that's mine as well. And here's a real funny one: to drink less carbonated water and more normal water. That's one of mine. All right. So we have an Adobe XD file open. And before we jump in, I'll show you some basics of XD, and I'll also be answering your questions. I think that'd be a fun thing to do. Tanya says she got stuck on my last challenge last month. Oh no. What'd you get stuck on? Let me know. Maybe we can answer the question for you, because we'll be doing some Q&A at the end of this stream today. Here are our 9 challenges. I just want to talk about them a little bit. So tomorrow, that is live and direct tomorrow, we're going to be working on an animated banner, like a big, really impressive kind of hero, top of the page, above the fold website banner with some animation, maybe some video, maybe some cool stuff inside of it. That's right, I said video. Did you know that XD can actually do video? Ooh, it's going to be cool. It's going to be spicy. Challenge number 2, we're going to make a little robot vacuum app where you can turn your robot vacuum on and you can see it animating and moving around and getting all the little nooks and crannies. I have a robot vac. I love it. It's super great. It's the best robot that I own, right? Is a robot vacuum. All right, challenge number 3. We're gonna do some juice ordering. We're gonna build our own juice. We're gonna swap out the ingredients and we're gonna blend that thing up. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So that's challenge number 3. It's happening this week. And then our Friday challenge this week, we're just gonna talk about the Apple Watch interface. We're gonna build some really seamless, very native looking, very real deal Apple Watch interfaces using some kits, some UI kits that we'll download. We'll just talk about what it looks like to make seamless, beautiful prototypes for watch interfaces. We're also going to be building a Rockin' Behance example there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Challenge 5, everybody's got a streaming platform in the entire world, so why not build our very own streaming platform with a lot of looping, automatically playing video. It's got sound in it. It's going to be really, really cool. We're also going to be doing a little bit of wine tasting. We're going to get a little bit refined right around week 2. We're going to try some rosés, some chardonnays, some pinots, some grigios. That's all the wine I know. But we're going to pour some wine out and have a little bit of fun. It's going to be a fun one. Challenge number 7, let's build an art gallery. Let's talk horizontal scrolling. We're going to do a lot of these challenges are going to be mobile. Some of them are going to be desktop, website, applications. It's going to be great. Let's build a little online art gallery with maybe a little bit of a parallax effect as we scroll through horizontally. Challenge 8, riding bikes is a whole lot of fun this year. Maybe that's one of your New Year's resolutions. You might want to build your own. That means add some details, choose the color, right? The size, all that kind of stuff. We're going to do a little bike builder. And very last one, our last challenge is going to be a plant scanner. We're going to kind of be able to scan a plant that's in my office maybe, and then we'll be able to get some details on it, how we care for it. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be a fun experience. If you've never opened XD and you're thinking to yourself, these challenges sound absolutely wild, Jesse, I could never build the things that you just said. That's not true. That's not true, because it's 2022. It's time to believe in yourself and learn some cool skills like UI design, UX design, and Adobe XD is a great way to do that. It's a great tool to use while we build those UI UX skills. All right, so in my starting file, if you wanted to open up an Adobe XD, oh, really quick, I forgot. Let's talk about the file that you'll get. Every day you'll get a starting file, and it will have a starting artboard with some assets, some things that I've prepared for you. And then it's gonna have a little bit of instruction if you've never done one of these. So it's gonna tell us where we're at in our challenge. You'll get a little prompt, some examples, right? These ones are blurred out because there's no example for today, but we'll give some examples of what you do. And then we have actually a group of, well, a symbol in here, and you'll be able to change by using the components menu up here. You can change the state of that component using a handy dandy Adobe XD feature called components and component states. We'll be able to flip back and forth, and you'll find links to different assets, resources, icons you might want to find. And then you'll have some more tips down here. And then there's a little bit of info about me if you are interested in it. That's what you're going to get in your file every day. Let's jump in today's file. Just a little bit of a, 2022 started. Maybe you're already a little bit tense. Maybe you're already feeling a little bit stressed. It's time to meditate, calm down, and breathe just a little bit. So that's what we're going to do right now. And you go ahead and be gathering those questions you have for the end of the stream. Also, feel free to pop those in the Adobe XD Discord. I'm going to answer some questions. I'm going to do some Q&A. You can ask me a question about anything. Could be about design. Could be about XD. Could be about New Year's resolutions. Could be about anything you want. Anything at all. I'd love to answer some questions at the end of today's stream. So we have a little interface, and what's really cool is, this interface represents, I think, a lot of the really cool basics of Adobe XD if you've never used it. For instance, we have our layers panel over here on the left. You can see I zoom in. Wow, I zoomed in a little too much. And it's really just a rectangle, because you can draw rectangles in Adobe XD, just like so. I'm actually going to move all of my artboards, right? That's what we call these, artboards. I'm going to move those guys out of the way so that I can play around a little bit. We are going to get some helpful hints and tips in Adobe XD, and there's a way to shut those off if you want to. If we want to create a new artboard and maybe kind of kind of duplicate what we've done over here, we can just hit A for artboard and then pick your size, pick your poison. What do you like? Let's go with a 12 Pro Max. We'll pop that on for a mobile device. And all I did to get this effect over here was just draw just a little rectangle in there, right? XD is going to give me a lot of really fun controls on even something as simple as a rectangle. And you're thinking, how do I do it? It's so amazing. I wish I could do it. Well, we're just going to turn the border off. I'm going to open up a couple of assets that I had. Let's see. Let's look at tomorrow's assets, shall we? And I got a couple assets, like maybe some space stuff in here. Pretty cool. You can just drag images and so you get that highlighted kind of view. When you drag it in, it's going to do all the hard work of masking the image inside. And then what's really cool is that this thing is genuinely a mask. It's trying to fit it as much as it possibly can to the shape, but we can always double click and we have access to the image inside. So we can kind of do a little bit of art direction and choose where we'd like that kind of element to take place. So maybe space is the wrong thing for meditation. Maybe we had something else. Oh, that's right. We had a few on our desktop that were a little bit more meditation style. Maybe this nice pond here. That's where we found our meditation style there. So that's a way that you can do that. I added some text, some typography in our design, and then I made this really cool kind of like pie chart or a timer. And there's a fun little technique that I wanted to show you to create that timer. All you have to do is press E for ellipse and drag an ellipse out. And I always love my alignment tools. Big fan of alignment tools. I just press horizontally and vertically align. I'm going to take the border off, and then I might actually just, I'm going to remove the fill, keep my border on. Let's make that border white, and we'll just use our size down here just to bump up the size of our border. We're going to make a little bit of a pie chart or a ring here. That's exactly what we want. We like it. And now how do we make that? How do we make that secondary, that piece of pie that sticks in there? It's a fun little life hack for you today on how to do that in Adobe XD. First, let's do this. Let's bring the opacity of our element down a little bit. I'm just going to Command or Control C depending on your operating system, and then Command or Control V to paste, so copy and paste. We have another one. Let's crank that up. And I really liked that color. That color was really calming and peaceful. So I'm going to use my little color picker and just, not with the fill though. Color, we're going to just color pick the border there, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to come into the gap and we're going to do something really massive, like 2,000. Something like that, okay? So we have gapped it by 2,000, and then you can take this little dash symbol here or control here, and you can just start cranking that up a little bit. And as we do that, we start to get a little bit of control for our pie chart. Now, what's really fun is we can add like a soft kind of edge to the end, or we could have kept it kind of crisp and clean if we wanted to, but now we can control using the dash. This is the dash gap method. I don't know who titled that. Maybe it was me, maybe it was Andrea, who's a constant streamer here on the Adobe Daily Creative Challenges, an amazing designer as well. Maybe she came up with that and I'm just copying it. I'm not sure, but now we have this nice little pie chart that we can use. Now, I'm going to introduce you to the fun that is Auto-animate. So we've created our little timer here, and maybe we want to breathe just a little bit, all right? Richard says, hello, everyone. Hello, Jesse. Happy New Year from New York. New York. All right. Happy New Year. Maybe you were there to watch the ball drop. Maybe you stayed home this year. Not sure, but I hope you had a lot of fun. Let's take this all the way back to 0 using our dash gap method or technique, and then let's just go ahead and we'll duplicate the artboard. We'll do a little smart animating today, shall we? So I'm just going to go just hold down Option and drag a new version of my artboard over, and this version, you guessed it, I'm going to go and find that gap and just run it all the way up. Now let's go real slow. So we'll do this in maybe 2 steps, right? Because we can create artboards and do some kind of state-based animation. Here's our first state, second state. So let's do that. And we just turned that into a flow, which is, let's zoom out real quick and go back to design. That's not what we want to do. Okay, beautiful. So let's just go back. Here we go. All right, we made a couple of mistakes there. It's all right. We just Command Z and just undo it. That's the beautiful thing about XD, is that Command Z ability. All right, so now what we can do is just continue our gap trick and just take the gap all the way up and around till it fills up. And now we can do some smart animating. So how about we do this? We'll come over to our not design tab that we've been working in this whole time, but our prototype tab. You can also see the hotkey there is going to be option 2. So you have option 1, option 2 for prototype, and then option 3 for share. Another fun quick key that I end up using quite a bit is Command or Control Y. This will open up your layers panel. And then if you hold Command Shift Y, you can actually jump to your assets panel where you can save all your colors, typography, components. We actually have some components that we borrowed from a UI kit today. And to get UI kits, if you're wondering about that, you just head up to File and you can hit Get UI Kit, and it'll take you to find a bunch of fun UI kits, Apple, Android, all sorts of stuff. You can see I have it right here. It's a design templates file. It's chock full of goodies for mobile devices, for the iPhone specifically. And that's over on the Apple developer website. That's where it'll take you. And the good folks over at Apple have made it for us XD people who just need some of those components, and we don't want to reinvent the wheel constantly. That's kind of what we're doing. So while that opens up, I'm just going to kick back over to my design, and let's do a little bit of prototyping, shall we? All right. Well, hopefully. We're getting it's slowing us down, Apple file. That's all right. We will answer a couple questions while we are waiting up. Never mind. We'll do those questions later. We are back in business. And you know what I'm going to do? Oh, there it is. Okay. It's a big file, so sometimes it just takes a little bit. We just got to be a little bit patient with it. All right, let's do our animation, shall we? Let's do our prototyping. So let's jump in and prototype now. And why don't we now in prototype mode, when I select elements, like for instance, why don't I select the play button here? We're going to get the ability to drag a handle out. We'll pop that over to number 2. What we're saying is we need to now set a trigger type. Lots of trigger types in XD. Right now, we're going to do a basic tap that will take us from the first artboard to the second artboard. We like that. We don't want to transition. Let's do something spicy like auto-animate, and we will do a nice linear. That means no sort of easing. If you don't know what easing is, does it start slow, end fast, vice versa? Is there none of that? Does it just go nice linear? So we're going to pick none. And let's do something like 5 seconds, okay? 5 whole seconds to get from A to B. Like that a lot. And now we're going to do something kind of very interesting. Instead of picking an element actually on the artboard, let's select the entire artboard itself, drag that to the third artboard, and now we get the time option. So we'll do a timed animation, no delay. We don't want to delay at all, but we want to do kind of a similar thing. Auto-animate, no easing, 5 more seconds, okay? And then once we're here, why don't we do an instant tap, go all the way back. We'll do this really quickly, like 0.5 seconds, half a second. And let's play with some easing, like snap. That should be fun. And now while we're here, we might as well hit the little house, which is going to start our flow. This is a great feature in XD that allows us to, as we've linked and wired up a prototype that consists of multiple screens, we can name this thing like timer. And now we can just grab that flow tag and move it around. This is also really great for sharing. If we want to share our work with our design team, our boss, developers, we head over here. We can actually share the entire flow itself. That's a really just nice way to stay organized. Stay organized out there, designers. It's important. So now that we've done that, we can just press play and preview our work. All right. And we should be able to, really quick, let's just get rid of some of our old screens we don't need. All right, we get our hand here that shows us that's a prototype moment. You can also click a lot of times, but we're just going to click there, and there we go. It's going to start. It's going to take about 5 seconds, and now with my hands off, I'm not touching anything. It hits that next artboard and seamlessly transitions. Now what we could do is from here could add some sort of like celebration animation, right? We could totally do that. We don't need to do that maybe. But you know what might be kind of fun is as we're taking 5 seconds, let's go back to our design tab. I'm gonna do a little bit of fun work here. I'm just gonna bring my layers panel open. I'm going to just take my image and, oop, that's the wrong one there. That's my, aha, there we go. So I had a nice kind of dark overlay on that. Let's take our image and we'll just kind of fade it in. We'll increase the size just real lightly, right? Let's select our timer flow again and press play. And this time when we press play, there'll be this very slight growth to the image. It's very calming. It's very peaceful. We like it. And as it goes the rest of the way, it calms down. Now, this is a really, really fast breathing exercise, isn't it? But we could do breathe in, breathe out, or we could do multiple artboards that lead us to one long timer. the sky's the limit inside of Adobe XD. But that's some basic functionality for you inside of XD. It's going to be a lot of fun. Richard Otley has got a great question. So let's jump over and read that question. He says, hey, Jesse, what's the difference between auto-animate and timed animation? Aren't they somewhat similar? Well, auto-animate is the feature inside of Adobe XD that allows us to not do transitions from A to B, like sliding things over or dissolving, but instead it's going to animate the same elements from one place to another. For instance, a great way to just kind of like highlight auto-animate is to draw out an artboard and then draw something like an ellipse and fill that ellipse with a real obvious color so you can see it at home. And we now have this element. Now this element is called ellipse. Let's just call it ball in our layer name here. And we have a secondary artboard, and we're just going to move that ball over, something like that. Let's put this down below. We're doing a little auto-animate experiment. Now, if we were to do a basic transition, like for instance, we head to our prototype tab, we say when we click on the ball, we tap on the ball, it's going to transition over. Okay, when we get that, it's just going to do a fade, right? But if we say, select our tap trigger again and say auto-animate, that's when we get the spiciness of taking that element and actually moving it over. Now, here's a few key tips for your auto animating. Let's do the same thing. We'll lead it back so we can have a little bit of fun. It's got a snappy animation on it with the easing. If we change the name, okay, so ball 2, we might struggle a little bit with our animation. See, it's the same element, but it has to be named the same thing. And so you can get yourself in a lot of trouble by having the elements with the same element, wrong name. Once we have the right name, we get beautiful animation in between artboards. So that's auto-animate. Timed animations are when we select the artboard itself and we animate back. So auto-animate is the type of action, and timed animations are technically a trigger, right? So we've just animated back from the artboard, and this time we can do a timed animation. And let's give it a 3-second delay, something like that. So it should now do it on its own, but we'll make this one a little bit more distinct. Like it'll be 3 seconds. So unless we interrupt this animation, it will in 3.5 seconds. Once it goes back, excuse me, that way, 1, 2, 3.5, it should start easing its way back because that is a timed trigger event. So the difference between animation types or action types and trigger types. That's a great question. Thanks so much for asking that question. And because it really does, it highlights a lot of those basic principles that you really need to solidify those basics now so that later on when you're doing complex things, interesting things, maybe even doing animations in between component states, you don't want to lose track of where you're at. You want to know where you're at, what you're doing, and just knowing the basics a lot of times will give you the tools and the idea or the understanding of how to accomplish something that you have in your mind to actually bring it to life on the canvas, which is pretty fun. All right. So great question. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask. It is question and answer time for the next 5 minutes. You can ask me about freelancing, design, business, jobs, career, Adobe XD, Adobe products, anything like that. Like for instance, Giannis asks, how do we transfer animated XD work to Discord? What format should we do this in? That's a great question. I love to export things out of Adobe XD in lots of different formats. So one of the ways you can do that is head over to Share, for instance, and we can export things as a link, but you can also, if you'd like, bring up like the play, just press play, the preview pane, and we can start. I'm on an Apple computer. We can record right here. On a Windows computer, you can actually use, I think it's like Xbox Record or something like that comes native on all Microsoft computers, and you can record it that way. But we can record it like so, and now we are recording our prototype. See how we get our kind of special representation of the tap points or the finger kind of moving around and touching elements on our design. Once we're done with this, stop, and it's going to save it locally as my my element, right? It's going to save it in an MP4 format. So you can see we have my timer MP4. It's beautiful video, works gorgeous. But the other way to do it, and I really love it, if everybody out there wants to share your work, I love sharing the interactive prototype. So you can come over to Share, And you can choose what you want. Design review is great. I think that's a great start. But there's some other options like development, like specifically for development or presentation or feedback, whatever it is, like design review. Anybody with the link, and we create that link. Adobe XD is going to do the work of creating an interactive link for us. We could share anywhere. You can share it just like this. Click it, and it'll open it up in your browser. You could share this link inside of Discord. That's one of the easiest ways. Now I get the full-blown effect. What's really awesome is you can take these links that have full-blown interactivity like this. You can actually share them in your Behance projects. So now your Behance project can have a beautiful image that tells all about the project and maybe a little bit of your workflow and process. You can have a video in there, an interactive prototype. Just throw the whole kitchen sink at that bad boy and just wow people with the amount of different ways that they can interact and experience your design. It's always better. More is better, in my opinion. So that's how you can transfer your designs to Discord. Post the link, post the video, post the images, whatever you'd like to do. There's even some ways that you can export them out of here in other formats like animated GIFs, so on and so forth. But have some fun. Show me anything you got for the next 2 weeks. I'd love to take a look at it. Any other questions we have about 60 seconds left, and that will be us signing off for the day because we have 9 challenges ahead of us here on the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. Hit that blue button, sign up, join me same time, same place every day for the next 2 weeks. And you can ask these types of questions, post your work, get feedback, get featured, and learn a bunch of skills and skill sets that'll help you in your design practice, in your skills, in your career, in your job, in your everyday stuff. These are fun things to participate in. I participate in them when I'm not hosting them. I like to join along and be a part of them because they're so much fun. So with that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing Monday. Set those New Year's resolutions. Make one of them to be back here at the same time tomorrow to join us for the XD Daily Creative Challenge. We will see you later.